Yeah, this session is for Amberani, and Amberani is going to present her study. And I would like to invite Dr. Chu as our committee member, as a committee chair. Again, Dr. Chu, please.
Hey, good morning. Good morning again. Yeah. Yeah, so we are very glad to have Ambra Yani to present your thesis. Okay, so when you are ready, you can get started.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor. Good morning, Professor. So today I'm going to present my thesis, which title Announcing the Factors Influencing Foreign Tourists to Revisit Bali as a World Tourism Destination. So my name is Amber. Now we start. Today we're going to talk about Bali Island. I bet most of you or all of you here have heard about Bali Island before, or maybe you've been there before. So talking about this study, the outline, the first one is background, and then literature review, methodology, data analysis, and the last is conclusion. So we're talking about the background. As we know, in recent years, tourism has emerged as one of the world's fastest growing industries. And also tourism is an important sector for 80% of Bali's economy and also contributed for 61% of Bali's GDP or gross domestic product. And the third one is Bali is a well-known island in the world. So from this third or the last statement, as we can see here, from the foreign tourist arrival to Bali for 5 years, as we can see from the table 2016 until 2019, it's always increased statistically, but dropped from 2020 until 2021. There's only 51% or 51 people, foreign tourists arrived to Bali in 2021. It's because the coronavirus. So we closed both for domestic and also international borders. So we move to the literature review. Here we're going to talk about tourism, and then here in this study I also have 4 independent variables, and then 1 dependent variable, and the other is for the mediating variable. So the first is perceived satisfaction, and then perceived attractiveness, destination image, and then tourist motive, and for independent is revisit intention, and also tourist behavior for mediating or intervening variable. So talking about tourism, tourism is defined as the temporary, short-term movement of people to any destination other than their usual place for leisure or maybe for business or other significant reason. And then talking about satisfaction. Satisfaction is defined as the combination of a person's attitudes, feelings toward the various factors that influence a specific situation. This is according to Liao and Huang, 2013. So satisfaction also similar to the tourist interpretation of overall pleasure after the trip. So maybe if you feel satisfied, you're gonna think that you will revisit the same destination in the future. And then talking about the attractiveness, according to Hu and Ritchie, 1993, the attractiveness of a destination is a concept that reflects the feelings, belief system, image, and perspective that individuals have about the destination and perceived capacity to provide the satisfaction. So here we're going to talk about what makes you attract, and then you're going to think that you will revisit the same destination in the future. And then destination image. Agapito et al. 2013 defined a destination image as a subjective interpretation of a place held in the tourist's mind which affect the tourist behavior. So for destination image, some destination they have an image, so it's gonna be make a positive word of mouth. So you're gonna think that, oh, this place or this destination image is good, so maybe you think you will revisit the same destination in the future. And tourist motive or motivation can be described as a global integrating network of biological and cultural forces that makes a significant contribution and direction to travel choice, behavior, and experience. Here we're going to talk about what your motivation so that you think you will revisit the same destination in the future. Maybe you will want to go the same place for holiday, leisure, or maybe you want to open a business. And then talking about revisit intention, Umedal 2006 considered revisit intention to be an extension of satisfaction. So repeat visitors were always more likely to return to the same location in the future than the first time visitors. This is according to Kozak in 2001. And then tourist behavior. Tourist behavior is defined as anything that visitor to a location might want to do, which include regulated tourist activities, but also things that tourists do that aren't actually legal or regulated. So behavior here is like your habit to revisit, or your habit to go to leisure to the same place, maybe every year, and then twice a year, or maybe every month. Now we move to research model. Here we have 4 independent variables that influence the dependent variable. So perceived satisfaction, attractiveness, destination image, tourist motive to revisit intention. And then from revisit intention to tourist behavior, and then also perceived satisfaction, attractiveness, destination image, tourist motive is significant influence tourist behavior. And also here we have a mediating effect and tourist behavior as a mediation or intervening variable. As we look at the hypothesis, here I have 13 hypotheses. And then for the methodology, this study methodology is quantitative approach, with a questionnaire is the major tool in collecting the primary data for analysis. And then a 5-point Likert scale was used to measure is from strongly disagree to strongly agree. And for the analysis, a total of 300 international tourists were obtained. And then the study utilized multiple regression analysis, or MRA, partial test, t-test, simultaneous test, f-test, and then coefficient of determination. And also we have reliability and validity to validate those 13 hypotheses. And for data analysis, reliability test from Cronbach alpha, as we can see here, from the 6 contracts, which each 5 items, all of the Cronbach alpha value is higher than 0.7, which means it's reliable. And then for the validity test, confirmatory cofactor or CFA, and also anti-image correlation. As we can see from this table, the Kaiser-Meyer-Olkin measure value is 0.855, which means it's higher than 0.05. And then for the significant value is significant because the value is 0.000. And then for the classical assumption test, the classical assumption test is a statistical that used to determine the relationship between variables, so which includes the normality test, multicollinearity test, heteroscedasticity test, linearity, and the last is multiple regression analysis. So based on the normality result, the significant value of the Kolmogorov-Smirnov test, the value is 0.420, which means it's higher than 0.05. Then it can be stated that the data is normally distributed and fulfill the classical assumption test requirements. And therefore, the multicollinearity test, all the t-value is higher than 0.10. And the VIR value in the result table for all independent is lower than 10. So it can be said that this test meets the classical assumption test requirements. And therefore, heteroscedasticity test result using the Glaser test. The significant value in the test result table for all variable is higher than 0.05. So it can be stated that there is no heteroscedasticity in the multiple linear regression. And then the last one is linearity test. So for all independent variable on revisit intention for dependent variable, the deviation from linearity is higher than 0.05. So based on this result, it can be concluded that there is a correlation or linearity relationship from independent to dependent variable. Now look at the demographic data of respondent. As we can see here, the gender. The male is the major respondent for this study with 51%. And then for female is 49%. And from the continent, the major is Oceania, the foreign tourists from Oceania with 32.3%, and then America with 26%, Europe from 18.7%, and then Asia is 18.7% too. And from Eurasia to 2.3%, and the last is Middle East for 2%. Now we're going to talk about multiple regression analysis, independent variable to revisit intention. As we can see from this table, only two constructs that significant, which is perceived satisfaction and destination image, with significant value is 0.00, is lower than 0.05. While the other construct, perceived attractiveness and tourist motive, which not significant because the significant value is higher than 0.05. And also can be calculated or the formula here. And then for F-test and coefficient of determination, the first table is for F-test is significant because the significant value is 0.000, which means lower than 0.05. And then for coefficient of determination, look at the adjusted R square, which the value is 0.464, which means the influence from independent variable to dependent variable is 46.4%, which another percent is from other variable that not examined from this study. So simple regression analysis, revisit intention to tourist behavior. I did a normality test. From the normality test, we can see that the asymptote significant is 0.1, which means linear and it's normal, and then or normally distributed. And for linearity test, it's 0.079, which means linear or they have a correlation between independent to dependent variables. And for coefficient of determination from R square, because it's only one variable, so we look at the R square. The R square value here is 0.643, which means 64.3% from independent to dependent variable. And then for the F-test is significant because the significant value is 0.00 and lower than 0.05. And then for the regression analysis, for the simple regression here, as we can see, revisit intention is significant influence the dependent variable, with the significant value is 0.000, which means lower than 0.05. We can be see the formula here. And then we're going to talk about the second regression, multiple regression analysis, independent variable to tourist behavior. Start with coefficient of determination, adjusted R square. We have a 0.204, which means from the influence from independent variable to dependent variable, they have a 20.4%. And then for the F-test is significant because its significant value is lower than 0.05. We have 0.000. And here the multiple regression analysis, as we can see from this table, all on 3 construct from 4 construct is significant. We have perceived satisfaction, attractiveness, and destination image. While the tourist motive is not significant because its significant value is higher than 0.05. And we also can see the formula here. Now, research model and definition value. After we did the task multiple regression analysis before, now we got the value. So, as we can see here from the first perceived satisfaction to represent intention, the value is 0.223, and then attractiveness did not affect the represent intention. And then from destination image to represent intention is 0.675. And then for tourist motive, they don't have a significant effect here. And for represent intention to tourist behavior with a beta value is 0.405. And also from satisfaction, attractiveness and destination image to tourist behavior, well, the tourist motive don't have a significant effect on tourist behavior. And now look at the mediation regression analysis of the effect of independent variables through represent intention on tourist behavior. Coefficient of determination, as we can see from adjusted R-squared here, the value is 0.526, which means from the influence from independent variable to dependent variable is 52.6%. And therefore the f-test is significant, with the significant value is 0.000. And now we move to multiple regression analysis. From here, as we can see from the 5 construct, we have 4 construct is significant, while the tourist motive don't have a significant effect because it's higher than 0.05. With the significant value is 0.149. And so based on the result of the effect of independent variable to tourist behavior as a mediating or intervening variable on represent intention. So perceived satisfaction to represent intention with beta value is 0.223, which significant value is 0.000. Meanwhile, perceived satisfaction to tourist behavior with beta value 0.231. With the significant value is 0.001. And for the PET correlation, PET analysis with the beta value is 0.288, significant 0.000. So here there is a partial mediating effect at this step because the effect of mediating variable on the dependent is significant. And also from independent variable to mediation variable is also significant. And for the second one, there is no mediating effect because both of them is not significant. And then from destination image to represent intention with a beta value is 0.675 with significant 0.000. Meanwhile, from destination image from tourist behavior with a beta value is 0.281. And then for the PET correlation, the beta value is 0.595 with significant 0.000. So it can be concluded that there is also partial effect, mediating effect at this step because the effect of mediating variable is significant, and also for the independent and also mediating variable is also significant. And the last, from the fourth mediating effect, there is no mediating effect because both of them is not significant. Now we move to hypothesis testing summarize. As we can see from this table, only hypothesis 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, and 12 are supported while another is not supported. And conclusion, based on the result of the calculation and analysis that have been carried out, the conclusions are obtained, including the following. First, perceived satisfaction and destination image significant influence represent intention, while perceived attractiveness and tourist motive does not significant effect on represent intention. And therefore, represent intention significant influence tourist behavior with the significant value 0.000, which means less than 0.05 with the beta value 0.405. And for perceived satisfaction, significant influence towards behavior with the significant value 0.001 is less than 0.05, and the beta value is minus 0.231. So following by perceived attractiveness is significant influence tourist behavior, and also next destination image is also significant affect the tourist behavior. While the tourist motive has no significant effect on tourist behavior because it's not significant, so it's higher than 0.05. And for mediating effect, the result shows that there is a partial effect on perceived satisfaction and destination image, while another variable for perceived attractiveness and also for tourist motives does not have a mediating effect. So for managerial implications, as time goes by, everything has changed. If tourists used to come to Bali for vacation, nowadays many tourists to come to Bali to start a business. Furthermore, many islands have promoted their island in order to increase Bali competitiveness, like a Maldives Island. And also this is where stakeholders must start innovating in order to promote Bali more specifically in the world stage. So there remains some results that do not fulfill the criteria based on the construct examined in this study. So as a result, some of these constructs should pay more attention to detail so that it can hopefully be implemented optimally in the future. And for suggestion, it is better for all stakeholders in the tourism industry to provide satisfaction and high quality services in order to gain tourist loyalty. So in today's modern era, stakeholders must also be creative and up to date in order to find tourist interest in model. And then it is preferable for tourists to understand and be well versed in destination information. As a result, there is no confusion between the destination fact and reality, which means there is no gap from the fact and also from the reality. So that's all about my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention.
Yeah, thank you, Amber and Yani. Thank you very much for your presentation. Yeah. Next, I will ask some questions first. Yeah. The first question is, do you have the book?
Yes.
Draft?
Yes, Professor.
Yeah. Can you turn to page 53 in your reference, in the reference section? Page 53.
Yes.
Yeah, you have listed some reference. Yeah. The first question is, according to the Vedanta, yeah, Vedanta 2021, yeah, just last year published very recent publication about that. The analysis factor influence the interest of foreign tourists to revisit, yeah, about it. Yeah, so what is your thesis difference between Vinayata and yours?
Vedanta. So
yeah.
in Vedanta, it's not a thesis, it's like a journal paper.
Yeah.
So from his paper, it shows that only perceived satisfaction and then tourist motive. While I use another construct, I add some construct which is satisfaction, attractiveness.
I'm sorry, they use what kind of factors? Factor or what?
Perceived satisfaction, attractiveness.
Okay.
So I add,
The
yes,
first two.
I add more. Yeah.
I see. Okay, thank you. And yeah, then go on the same page. Yeah, the Utama 2014 is the motivation and satisfaction of elderly tourism. Yeah, I'm very curious. In your research, can you tell which age group will revisit the intention of revisit? Can you tell in your study?
Yeah, for my study, usually only for the teenager.
Yeah.
It's not for elderly.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
So it's from 20 until 30.
Yeah, I see. Because you distribute your survey by email or by
Google form.
Google forms. Yeah. So for the elderly
Yeah, yeah.
People may not familiar with this kind of survey. Okay, I see. Okay. The next question is, can you turn to page 29? Because some of the construct, for me, I think there is some, in some sense, they are quite similar.
Yes.
29, page 29.
Yes.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about the multicollinearity test? So, for me, some constructs are quite similar. So, based on according to your test result, what can you explain? Which, there is any collinearity statistic shows or affect your questionnaire design. Okay.
So here from the multicollinearity test, so this test is for task for correlation or linearity from the independent variable to dependent variable. So here from the table, as we can see, the pursuit satisfaction, attractiveness, destination image, and tourist motive, they have the tolerance value is lower than 0.10. So it means from this independent variable to dependent variable, they have a linearity or multicollinearity test. So they have a correlation or linearity test for the independent variable for representation.
Okay.
And also the VIF test is higher than, lower than 10. Yes, 10.
Mm-hmm.
So it's from my independent variable, and also the value is lower than 10. So it's mean they have a correlation or linear for the independent variable.
Okay. Thank you. Yep. Now next we'll go to the
Okay.
Professor.
Have a lot. All have a lot. That's very critical. When you say the VIF is less than 10, you mean that the collinearity is not exist.
Yeah, yes. Yes,
Right,
Professor.
okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Professor.
Thank you, Professor.
All right. And Amber, you just did a very good presentation,
Thank you, Professor.
and I have several questions to you. The first thing is that in the literature review, the first section, 2.1, you talk about tourism. That is too broad, Yeah, because when you mention about tourism, you probably need to spend a lot of the words on explaining that.
Yes.
So actually, I would suggest you to delete the tourism section.
Okay.
Yeah, and you need the topic sentences. Okay, talk about the structure of the literature review. And in the end of the literature review, you probably need an additional section. Okay, you need to wrap it up all the section that you mentioned in the literature review. Okay, you need a summary. Okay,
Summary, yes.
yeah, in the end of the literature review. Okay.
My suggestion is that to keep the tourism
Mhm.
section,
Mhm.
but not tourism, but you should focus on to the industry.
Mhm.
Okay, talking about
Or probably tourism industry in Indonesia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
might be better.
That will be more specific.
Yes.
Yeah, the only tourism, that is too broad.
Yes.
Okay.
So we change to Indonesia or especially Bali. Tourism in Indonesia or
Indonesia
tourism in
is
Bali.
Yeah, Indonesia.
Yeah.
Indonesia will be all right. Mhm.
Yes. Thank you, Professor.
Okay. And what is your own definition about destination images? On page 11, okay. Page 11, you mentioned a lot of the definition. For example, Billy, Tulsi, and Chan, okay, and so on. Okay. And what is your own definition about from your perspective?
For destination image, for my opinion, destination image is like what the belief system, the image that destination have. So maybe if you think that this destination is good, or maybe you're gonna think that make a positive word of mouth or WOM,
Mhm.
sorry. So they're gonna think that, oh, destination is great, destination is good, so maybe this place for destination, the image is good, something like.
Mhm. Okay. You need to expand more. Just right after all the definition you provided on page 11.
Yes.
Okay. You need to explain more. What's your definition about the destination images? Okay. And about the analysis, I'm just curious. Why don't you just use SEM?
SEM.
Yeah, structural equation modeling.
So why I choose SPSS first for me?
No,
is-
Actually, you just use the multiple regression, you know. But we all know that the structural equation modeling deal with the test analysis and the multiple regression. Okay, so from your questionnaire, they are all latent variables. So actually, well, the SEM, the structural equation modeling, deal with the measurement error and unexplained variances. Okay, and it also tests the relationships simultaneously. Okay, so I think that it's a better way for you to run the SEM using AMOS or Lidro or PLS or smart PLS. Okay, yeah, because well, it allows you to develop a complex test model with the direct and indirect effects. Okay, so I think this is a better way to you, well, to run the model. Also, you will know the model fits. Okay, so it's a better way to you to run the structural equation modeling instead of the multiple regression. All right. So for me, well, these are latent variables. So well, I think it's a better way to you. Okay.
Thank you for your
And
suggestion.
okay, hold on. Okay, that's all about it. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you
yeah,
so much.
next we would like to have the Professor Lin to say something.
Actually, I do have one question about your model. We talked it before, but eventually I figured out there a little bit error or misunderstanding about your model. Tell me what is a mediating variable?
Mediating variable, that if you already have an independent variable and then you put the mediating variable, so you know that what makes is this if you put some mediating variable, is this affected the dependent variable or not?
In your case, what would be your mediating variable? Is that revealed intention or used
The
revealed?
choice behavior as a mediating or independent variable.
In that case, your hypothesis 5, the direction your hypothesis 5 will be changed, will be reversed. Yeah, we can check about this later, okay?
Yes.
Okay, there is some kind of pitfall in your writing. And another question is that you come over here for 2 years and you learn in our department. Actually, I know you are a hard worker and you did a very good job in your writing, and you are more very aggressive also. What do you learn from these 2 years in your study?
So actually during these 2 years I have learned so many things, especially it's so different from Bali, the way how to we teach and then how the way we learn something. And the first thing is talking about the culture and then the tradition, also the language barriers. Because the first I came here, I don't know anything about Chinese. I only know ni hao and also the thank you, xie xie.
How about now?
Yeah,
Much better.
yeah,
Oh,
much
really?
better. It's
Okay.
improved. Because we also have a lot of international students, also same for local Taiwanese student in one class. So I learned so much from them. For a while, I really enjoy my study here for 2 years. I'm gonna think that I will not come back to Bali, but I'm from Bali, so yeah.
So you wanna stay here for a while?
If I have a chance, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
Mhm.
Okay. More questions?
No,
No. Okay.
I'm fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Stop the
Yeah.
takeover.
Stop recording.
Yeah. And they put out.
Yeah, stay outside for a while. Okay.